So let's move to the next question. So the question is we have to print all the employees who have not received a hike in the salary last year and increase their salary by 1500. So we have to print all the employees who have not received the salary hike and add 1500 to them. So let's see how to do it. So here we have an employee class with name, salary, and last raise date. Last raise date means when last time the salary has raised. If the salary raise date is more than 1 year old, we'll add 1500 to their salary. So that is the problem statement. So here we have some employees and the salary and the last salary raise date is mentioned. So first what we have to do is we have to see last salary raise date is more than 1 year. Okay, for that, what we can do is we can calculate more than 1 year date. So 1 year old date. So it's can use local date and we'll use now. Will minus years that is 1. So which will give last year's date. Now what we have to do is we have to start streaming employees. So that's the first thing. We have to filter those employees so whose salary hike date is more than 1 year old, or if it is null. So we'll consider both the cases. So first case would be if the salary raised date is null, or if it is more than 1 year old. So it's employee dot get salary raised date. If it is before 1 year old date, whatever we calculated. If it is before than that, then what we have to do is we have to increase their salary. So if I just do this map, right? Map, for example, employee dot set salary. So for that, first I have to get the current salary and add 1500 to it. So if I just uh, click on for each or any other step, right? It will not work. Maybe I'll just first add the for each and I'll tell you why it is not working. Still, there is an error with the map. Why? Because it is taking an employee object. Once we do this set salary, it's returning void. So it will not work. So one way we can solve is we have to return an employee object. So that time it will work. So let's say I will just say return employee back. So it will take an employee and we are updating the salary, and from this bracket we are returning an employee. That employee is fed to the next for each loop. So this way, what we are doing is we are taking every employee whose last salary raise date is more than 1 year old or not mentioned, that is null, then we'll increase the salary rate. Let's run this. So here we have got all the 3 employees, and the fourth one is not coming because if you see Bob name is not coming because Bob's salary raised less than 1 year because it's 7th month. So rest of the folks either last raise date is null or it is more than 1 year old. So their record is coming here. I hope you got it. This is one way to do it. Let's say if you don't want to use map, you can go for peak also. Peak will also solve this problem. So peak is normally used for debugging purpose, but this is another use case where we can update the value also with peak. So let me run and show you. So you'll get the same result. So that is another thing. You can see all their salaries increased by 1500 except Bob. Bob is not belongs to this. So let's say if there is another variation of the problem. So here we went ahead with the last raise date, but let's say we have to do with the salary. So maybe I would say last raised amount. So this is pretty straightforward, but I'll give you a variation for homework which you can try out. So here I'm just updating this, and even I will update my toString also. You can even use Lombok also, but here I have used hard-coded toString. So here what we have to do is if the salary last raise is 0, or here if it is, for example, salary raised is 100. Here also maybe let's make it 0. Here I'll make it as 1000. So if there is a salary raise happened to the employee last year, so if that is the case, what I'll do here is if let's say get last raise salary amount if it is equals to 0. So identify those employees who have not received any salary hike last time and increment that salary by 1500. So here we made uh, Alias and Charlie to go in that. So both of their salaries increased. Last raise amount was 0. Okay. Um, so you can even update this last. Now we are updating, right? So we can update this last raised amount so that in the future it will take into consideration. Just one of the exercise you can try out is it's just a variation. Add both last raised date and amount. Check if the last raised date is more than 1 year old and last raised amount is 0, then add the salary hike. So I'll just repeat the problem. So add last raised date also here. And the logic should be like consider both the cases. Like it should be more than 1 year old, last raised date, and they should have got the 0 as the hike. So try that combination. So last raised date is more than 1 year old and they have got 0 as the hike. And identify those employees and add some amount to their current salary. So that's another variant. You can try out even other variants as well for the practice purpose. So I hope this problem statement is clear and even the answer is clear to you. These are all kind of a real day-to-day use cases. We may do it in our day-to-day coding also. So I hope you understood. So practice this question after this video. Let's move on to the next question.